Hello, my lovelies. So I've decided to do something a little differently today than what I usually do. And that is usually when I come on, I want to read for other people, right? I don't think I've ever done a personal reading. I don't think many people do their personal readings live, right? So what I'm going to do is a very quick personal reading from me, but I'm going to do it on live so that way people kind of see how I do my readings, what the point of them is, how for me I apply it. I mean, obviously you won't know the whole thought process. Hello. But the whole point is to just bring an awareness to how this works, how I work and how my readings work. So if you can kind of see how I read for myself, then you would get a general picture of how I would read for you. Obviously, everybody's readings are personal interpretations, so it wouldn't be verbatim or it's never exact. But just so people understand how this works, okay? So the point of me using the cards is because I do this often, so it does tire me sometimes. I mean, I can do it without the cards for myself, and I do it often, but there's nothing to visually show you when I'm not doing it with cards. I like to do it with cards so that people receiving the readings have something visual to apply their focus on, because it's really crazy how these cards come in, and even sometimes the visual representations that come out represent what may or may not be happening in their personal life just as much as the actual words do. So I always introduce my deck when I do a reading with someone. So if you're coming to me as a client and you want to receive a reading from me, 95% of the time I'm going to introduce my deck to you if you haven't already met my deck. Okay, so what it would be is I would tell you, this is the deck that I use, and I've done introduction videos before, but I always tell people this is the Spirit Science deck, and as I'm shuffling, I tell them a little bit about it. Spirit Science is a really awesome YouTube channel. They have really great information. I recommend anyone and everyone who wants to have any type of insight or any type of spiritual enlightenment to go to Spirit Science and grab some of their information from their videos. It's really useful. This deck is the Spirit Song deck. And mind you, when I do my readings, I do them on voice recordings, so it will come off as a voice recording. So this deck is a spirit song deck, and this is a spirit animal deck. So everything on here, they're all animals, all different animals. So they all have some type of embodiment of what the card means. So it's super cool. And then this deck, so this deck has 82 cards. This is they have 4 extra cards in this deck, which makes it exclusive, which is why I like Spirit Science, because they don't just use tarot. They use Kabbalah, Hermeticism, astrology, numerology, a bunch of different things. So that's why I really like this deck. And then this deck is a tarot deck. What's wrong? And that's why it has the spirit animal deck. And then this deck is a Saint and Angels Oracle card deck. This is 22. This has 22 cards. So these are clarifiers. And then this deck is kind of based basically off of Rider-Waite Tarot. If you know Tarot, then you know what that means. So for this, because I said I'm going to do a personal reading, I'm going to do it, I think I might probably only pull about 5 cards because I don't want it to be quick, and I don't need y'all to know my whole goddamn life. But really quickly, so we'll get into it, and how I would interpret it, even with, what I'm personally going through, okay? And like I said, I'm doing this so that people can understand how I work and what this is, okay? Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay. So, wow. Okay. So I got it. I pulled 8 cards pretty much, and this is what I'm going to read for myself. So for me personally in my life, I have a lot of abandonment issues, okay? So whether people understand it or don't understand that, as far as family, it does exist. So in my middle positioning here, I did get the 8 of Cups in reverse, which literally talks about abandonment. And one of the things that I'm facing or dealing with on my personal forefront is my personal abandonment. So sorry, my dog's distracting me. So when this card comes forward, cups talk about emotions. So emotions, and what I'm going through on my personal forefront is me coming to the realization of like how much I've been through and how that has left me feeling and how that has affected me in my relationships with other people. So with this card, what I'm automatically representing and recognizing with myself is that this is a big thing. This is something that I'm like definitely needing to put onto the forefront of my attention and bring my awareness to, so that way I can get a little bit better at it and I can bring this abandonment issue to a place of better understanding. So for this, the cups coming, so one thing I love about this card is that you see that there's these 5 cups that are here, and these are like broken, these are like depleted, these are very like tore apart, you know what I mean, like they're useless. Okay, so the person who's on the journey, which would represent me, needs to learn to leave these things alone or leave these things in the past and continue on to the journey and into these cups right here, which represent something like the things that are yet to come or the things that are coming or the things that I'm working towards, right? So that would be my first card and my first positioning. So for me, I would read this way. I would go to the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man talks about surrender, and it talks about being in a place of like letting go. So as we were talking about with this card and what I was talking about with my own personal abandonment issues, this card represents abandonment, and then this card represents the need to let those things go, and it represents the need to like put them into the past. So it's literally telling me something I already know and something that I've already had a conversation with myself about, but it's coming in the cards because it's something to share with you guys. So the Hanged Man always represents us getting to a place where we're surrendering. When you want to get to the next phase of your life, you have to give up your past. You have to give up the old ways of being. You have to give up your old ways of thinking. You have to like really start getting ready to step into this new positioning, because if you don't, then what's going to happen is that you're going to continue to feel like dull and depleted. And I say dull on purpose because the King of Dis, which Dis represents your physical aspects, the Dis comes forward and it came in the reverse positioning, which talks about being dull. So obviously that is talking about with men in particular, which is where a lot of this comes from. A lot of my own personal abandonment issues come from my issues that I've dealt with men. So when we're talking about these 3 cards overall, it's telling me like we need to work on the abandonment issues. I need to surrender, because especially when it comes into creating my union with men here in the physical world, like I'm dull at that, because I do become scared. Like I become like complacent in a way because of the fact that I've been through what I've been through and because of this abandonment thing. I know that I've spent a lot of time like building myself up to a point where I don't feel like I need anyone. So me talking to someone and being in a relationship with someone makes me feel like I need them. And for me, because I've been through so many different things and I've had so many different experiences, you know, I understand that these things are part of the cycle, part of the process. So this card is the Crown card, and this comes in the upright positioning, and it talks about fulfillment, and it talks about embodiment, completion and embodiment. So what it's telling me is that this is coming, the end of a cycle coming. This is the end of a cycle. This is me recognizing that in order for me to get better or to attain to the things that I want and to turn this card from dull to upright, which is determined, I need to learn how to overcome this obstacle when it comes to when it comes to accepting other people's emotions, okay? And that's me, because I know that like I can be a little bit like blind when it comes to accepting other people's emotions, especially when it comes to how I personally feel in a situation. So that's part of the things that I need to learn how to do on my own personal forefront to become better and to complete and embody this cycle, so that I can then go into what this is called. This is like your Merkaba. This is like you ascending. This is you traveling through space and time and going into a higher dimension or higher plane, which is what I'm working on, which is what I'm always working on. I'm always working on bettering myself, no matter what area of myself that is. There are some things that like always need improvement, you know what I mean? And then there are some things that when you improve upon them, it's okay to allow them to like sit where they are until you grow, and then those things also need to be improved upon. Nothing in your life should truly be stagnant, including like lessons you learn. Like a lesson that you learned in 2nd grade has evolved. Like even if you really even pay attention to school, they're not teaching the same math that they taught us. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that in and of itself tells you that yes, everything can change, everything can be looked at from a different perspective, which is what this card represents. This is the Queen of Swords, and the swords talk about your mind, and this talks about being in a place of looking at things from a different perspective. And when you're learning how to look at things from a different perspective, that's when you get to this place where you complete and embody lessons, where you no longer get into this, where you're no longer coming from a place of abandonment, but you're coming from this place of like reunification, which is like coming back together with who you truly are, coming back into your true essence. So as a reading for me, I would also read these 2 cards, which I pulled from my Spirit Science deck, my Spirit Song deck. This is the first one. This is the 4 of Crystals, and this has an otter on it, and the 4 of Crystals is the 4 of Discs. So this talks about control and security. So one of the things about me is that I like to be in control of how I feel. I like to know or feel secure in situations at all times. I don't ever like to feel like my security is compromised. I don't ever like to feel like I'm not safe. So when we're talking about this issue in particular, which is what is being read in the cards for me, the 8 of Cups that came in that reverse positioning, which was brought forward my abandonment issues. This 4 of Crystals is telling me that it's like telling me to recognize that one of the things that I really want to see happen in this physical world is me in a place of total control over my own security, and also just understanding what security means. So security isn't just like a security alarm or security system. Security has plenty of different meanings. So when I'm talking about or thinking about what I want in my life as far as a partner, or just what I want in my life in general, or what I'm looking for as a like an overall basis, this card comes forward to tell me that like one thing that I need to pay attention to is like my security, like the things that make me feel secure, especially when it comes to other people, because that's a very hot topic with me, especially when it comes to building bonds with men here on the physical world. Hello, my lovey. I'm doing a personal reading on myself so that people get used to readings or understand what it is or what I talk about in readings. So you can watch it after. So anyway, so the 4 of Crystals talks about security, and it's bringing me to a place of understanding what I'm looking for and how I need to like kind of get in control of myself and get into a place of feeling secure with what it is. With my dreams, and like going after those things, and like in establishing what security means to me, right? So then the next card is the Sun card. Now generally speaking, the sun is a male aspect of the universe and the moon is a female aspect of the universe, and this sun card represents more masculine energy in my life. Now if anyone knows me, you know that I'm a woman, but I do have a lot of manly traits when it comes to certain things, especially when it's like when I'm in this like heartless position, or when I'm just in this like just certain mindset, right? So the sun coming forward in this particular deck represents vitality and joy. So it's telling me to like find that place, to find a way to become secure with the idea that I can find vitality and joy in a masculine aspect, which is something that I personally highly doubt because of my experiences in the past with other people. So when it comes to me interacting with new people, I kind of have been applying that mindset, which is where I've been faulted and where I'm fucked up at, because I shouldn't be doing that. I should be entering every single situation and scenario that I've been through. I should be entering that with a mindset of like fresh and new, instead of this is going to cause the same thing that has been caused or has happened to me in the past. So because of that, that's why these things are coming forward. That's why I got these cards. So my first card, once again, just to recap, because I always recap. Oh, and I'll get into that. I always recap. My first card was the 8 of Cups, which came forward in the reverse positioning, which brought forward my abandonment issues, which is definitely something that is coming to the forefront forefront in my own personal life at the moment. The second card we spoke about, which is the Hanged Man, which came forward in the upright positioning, talking about surrender. So it's telling me to kind of let go and be in a different place when it comes to my own personal abandonment issues. The third card I spoke about is the King of Discs, which came forward in the upside down positioning, which talked about dull. So it's talking about me creating these dull relationships, or these things that are less than worthy or less than satisfying with men in particular, on the physical aspect, on the physical forefront, because of me dealing with an abandonment issue. Then we talked about the crown issue, which came forward talking about us completing and embodying this cycle and learning how to apply new ways of being to our relationships, me personally. And like learning to like navigate and ascend through these types of processes. And then the last card we spoke about, which was the Queen of Swords, which came forward in the upright positioning, which talks about perception and being in the mind and looking at things from a different way, or a different point of view, which is where and what I have been working on, and it's just kind of bringing me to a forefront, or to an understanding that like I understand that I'm not always right, and especially when it comes to like my personal life and things like that, and that and that like I need to leave room, I need to leave margin, like I need to leave a room for error. I need to let there be wiggle room. Like it can't just be so much like cut and dry, black and white. And one thing I also have taken out of my own personal experience is that just because somebody says something hurtful, and it doesn't mean that it's not necessarily true, or doesn't mean that it's not like a valid point. So like for me, I think that, and I don't think I'm alone in this, I think that a lot of us hear hurtful things in an argument, or say hurtful things in an argument because we're upset and we don't know how to articulate that energy in a differently than using verbal words to hurt one another. But I think that if we kind of learn and understand that hurt people, that like we need to kind of look at things from a different perspective. Me personally, always, I'm always the queen of looking at things from a different perspective. But when it comes to me being stressed out, me having my own personal bullshit going on, and trying to process my own personal emotions, it gets just like everyone else, where I get frenzied, you know. So this is coming forward talking about changing our perspective, completing embodying cycles, vitality and joy, which is telling me I can find what I want in a man, and I can also create what I want with any man that I choose to bring forth in my union, whether that's like as a friend, as a colleague, as a co-worker, as a significant other, however that a family member, however that comes about. I need to be able to like get back to a place where I'm enjoying the interaction, rather than basing the interaction off my past and the things that I've been through in the past. So the last card that I want to talk about, I want to talk about this. So this is an otter. So the reason that I love this as being an otter is because otters are actually extremely smart, and they do have a sense, like how they live their life does have a sense of security. Like they just feel secure knowing that they just follow their instincts, and that they kind of bring forth their security in their way of living. And if you kind of just know a little bit about otters, you just kind of know. So then this is a hummingbird. So one thing I love about the hummingbird is that hummingbirds levitate. If you don't know anything about hummingbirds, they're not necessarily flying. They are actually more so levitating and being uplifted by vitality and joy. You know, when I talk to people about law of attraction, and I try to get them into a place of understanding how to think yourself into a better mood, and to think and create the things that you want in this physical world, I always talk about like elevating your mood and elevating the way you see things, or looking at things from a different perspective, so that the same thing that gives you discord can bring you into a place of ease. So with me, it's telling me to take my own advice. It's telling me like, you know, that like in order for you to feel better about a situation, you have to remember the things that make you feel good about the situation. So when it comes to my male aspects, or the masculinity aspects of my life, whether it's internal or external, it's telling me to take it to a place of like uplifting that vibration, because the vibration that I've been on with it hasn't necessarily been serving what I want to experience. Then the last card we have from my Satan Angel's Oracle card is reward, and this is from my guardian angel, and this is telling me that pretty much the hard work that I've been bringing forward is going to be rewarded. Me realizing that, like, I obviously still have work to do, and that there's other ways to look at things is part of the reward. Like, a different mindset is just as fulfilling as $1 million. And I know it doesn't sound like it because you can't go buy much with a different mindset, but you can definitely improve your mood, and you can definitely put yourself into a different place just by thinking into it. So it's definitely, as a reading for me, what I'm taking out of it is to pay attention to how I'm projecting myself, especially when it comes to males. I know that I've been hurt by men a lot, so like I know that, like, I don't even think that I purposely do it, but like I think that I just automatically start pushing men away because I'm just like, well, fuck this. I'm not gonna deal with certain shit, like, which is where all of us are. Can we not agree that can we all agree that we're all like at a place where it's just like we're not going to tolerate someone hurting us, and we become very closed off? But then there's that flip side to it. Like, as much as we don't want to tolerate that person doesn't want to be hurt either. So at some point we got to learn to let our guards down just a little bit, and learning to gauge when it's okay to let your guard down, or learning to gauge like where to let your guard down is part of the hard part. And as a medium, you guys can already know most of you guys, anybody who actually knows me as a person, knows how I am, knows I'm very protective, I'm very guarded, I'm very like closed off with myself. So for me, it's just kind of telling me to like let down some of the like the guards, like let down some of the control, so that way I can let some of the joy and vitality that can exist in a union come to me, and that would be part of the reward. So there you go. I hope that this helps some people understand what my readings are. I don't sit here and talk about the devil, or like, I don't know what the fuck people think readings are about, but like, it's none of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, I just hope that people come to a better understanding of what I do. So that's a personal reading on myself. That's me talking about my own issues. That's me like giving them to you so that you can see how you can consult these cards, or me as a medium, not just about dead people, but just about any issue that's going on in your life and how they come up. You saw me shuffle the cards, you saw me bring them out, and I as crazy as it is, this issue that it's bringing up is something that's very recent into my life, as of like last night. So when I say that that's how these things work, and especially because this is my deck and these are my cards, of course they're going to come out very fluid because I spend so much time with my cards. But me doing it for you is just as clarifying. It can be just as amazing. It can be just as like clear, because the way spirit finds a way to just point me in the right direction, or to send me the right blocks of thought to interpret those cards that are for you, is what makes me a medium. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a blessed day. Truly, I think that, you know, everybody has a divine purpose. I really do. I think that everybody has a reason, for being where they are, my positioning. I think that even anyone who can upset me also has a very specific reason in my life, and it's to show me of certain things about myself. Like, I love deeply, and I need to learn how to make sure that me loving I love you, booby. Just making sure that I'm in a different positioning, and bringing that forward, and using that and applying that to my life on many facets. And like I said, these are things that we can talk about anything. We can talk about business ventures. We could talk about love life. We could talk about family. We could talk about people who have died. We could talk about so many things. So just know that they're not limited to one specific area, and it always comes out with some form of a positive message. I never use my readings to scare people. I don't want anyone in fear, and if you are in fear, then that's exactly why I want you to get a reading. So there you go, guys. Have a great day. I hope you guys know how much I love you, and how much most of you, because some of you guys can be a little weird sometimes, still love you, but I want to love you a little bit farther away. So anyways, I just hope that you guys know that I love you, and I hope you guys have a great day.